Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobby podcast. Today I'm doing a solo episode. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I have been thinking about something that I just haven't spoken about on the show. I think if you've been here for a while or have listened for a while, you know that our main objective is to be positive and spread love and light just as people through our days. That's our goal. And I'm going to talk about something today that is a little bit more of a hot take or a little bit more controversial. I usually don't comment on a lot of things that are kind of going on, maybe let's call it behind the scenes, as far as maybe just beauty industry things or things that are discussed at beauty school conferences or things like that. But this has come up, and then I'll get into kind of a situation that happened recently. But I was like, I kind of feel like if anyone's going to speak on this, it needs to be me. And I feel like I have maybe a different perspective for people. And not that I feel like we're going to make any waves or change anything, because I think that this is just the topic today of being negative online is just something that we know happens in the world. It just hits close to home sometimes. I know that there's just a lot of haters on the internet, a lot of people that will want to be negative. And so I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about being positive and professional and why I think it's important for beauty school students to kind of practice these things. But I think that this is maybe, now that I'm seeing more of it, maybe just a beauty industry thing in general that we need to fix or just kind of do better. Again, there's been a couple situations that have happened recently, and I want to talk about that today. Hey, beauty students and educators. I'm excited to share that Beauty School Bobby is now supported by BeautyCast Network, your go to career services and placement platform for the beauty industry. Free to schools, educators, and students, BeautyCast Network connects you with top artists, influencers, and educators who inspire and empower the next generation of pros. From webinars and newsletters to virtual career showcases, competitions, and scholarship pop ups, the platform is packed with tools to build non technical skills, encourage career readiness, and help students launch amazing careers as they approach their graduation date. Learn more at beautycastnetwork.com to help your students thrive and take their career to the next level. Now back to the episode. First of all, I was starting to think about all of this stuff and then had a conversation with a friend of mine that has a podcast as well. Her name is Jen Lyles, and I'm actually going to be hosting a webinar with her soon at the end of this month that is going to be talking about this maybe a little bit more in depth. But I'm going to be talking about that with beauty school owners. And I think this is just more of a conversation that needs to happen on a broader scale. But I'm sure like you have a ton of videos that come up on TikTok specifically that are negative reviews about beauty school. And people that are just like posting things that I just hate so much because it they'll post a photo of them and be like, I'm going to beauty school or starting beauty school next week. Like, get me ready, tell me your horror stories. What do I need to be ready for? I feel like it's going to be awful. And I think, first of all, going into any situation like that and having that perception already is maybe that it's not for you, or maybe like you're already trying to talk yourself out of it for some reason. So a couple of things that I want to get into about this, because I've seen that so much. And then you look in the comments and it's just, I mean, because these videos are getting the hundreds of thousands of views. When you post something negative and it opens up a space for other people to be negative, that is going to get you views. So we know that, right? I think there's a lot of influencers even that have built their brands on this exact thing. And I think if you talk to those influencers, like we had a conversation about the people that are doing this like kind of regularly, their explanation would be like, I'm just speaking the truth. And they feel like they're doing justice in some way for being negative or for sharing all of these things. And I think that two things can be true. I think that there is work that needs to be done in the beauty industry, but I also think that to just be negative about it is not productive. Like that isn't going to fix the issue. And I think asking yourself, like, well, what can I do better, to shine a light on my experience is what I would prefer to do. But again, I'm not on the side of the internet where I'm ever posting hateful comments, or if I was feeling a certain way about somebody, I wouldn't post about it. And maybe we just use social media differently. I think I'm way more about talking to people directly. And I think that that's something that we all need to do better at. But recently, I saw all these videos on the For You page, just kind of like bashing beauty schools. Now, I do want to start off by saying that no school experience is perfect, because going to college, people can say that, or going to whatever, position, job, career path you choose, obviously there are going to be negative sides of it. And I think it's okay to share the negative sides of it. But when it comes down to it being like personal, or really like just making, just talking negatively about people or putting a negative message out there, I just feel like that's the problem. And so when I was seeing all of these things online, um, it just like broke my heart, because I feel like there are so many people that want to go to beauty school. I meet with a lot of students all the time. And again, I've been doing this like in admissions for 13 years. And so I feel like I have experience in this world. And then being a beauty school owner, I also know what goes on behind the scenes. So I think the truth is that there is work that needs to be done at beauty schools in general. I'm lucky enough to work at a place that I know, because I'm so much a part of it, genuinely does want to show up and be the best for the students. We want to provide the best education, the most opportunities. We're always doing extra things to make the student experience better. We have episodes with me and Steven from a few months ago where we literally talk about how we went to Miami to teach in front of other beauty school owners, to talk about what we feel like we're doing well and what is working to make the student experience as positive as it can be. I also know that there's a lot of schools that do not operate like that. The owners are not in the building. Maybe it is a chain school. Maybe they aren't operating maybe the way that they need to be, which is why, even again, I'm sure a lot of beauty school students don't know this, but there is something called accreditation. And I think it's very important to go to a school that is accredited, because we are held to standards to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to do properly through how we utilize financial aid and how we operate as a school, right? So there is a governing body that does oversee all of this. And I think that's important. I think a lot of beauty schools, especially right now, are opening and they're not accredited, meaning they don't have to follow the requirements that we have to follow. And it's detailed. There is a lot that goes into the governing of all of this. So I think that's positive. There's something that is holding us accountable. But I think just us being in the schools every day is all of the accountability that we need. I also think that no business is going to get it right 100% of the time. As much as I would like to believe that every situation is handled perfectly, that, when we're a large school, that an instructor isn't going to say something offhand, or whatever the situation is, it doesn't always go perfectly. I think that making sure that you're choosing a school that has a good reputation, is accredited, is going to be there for you when you have an issue, whatever that issue is, knowing that you have somebody that you are able to go talk to. So I think that that's something that we do really well, is we can at least have conversations about what is going on. There is a side of beauty school where I think that there are people that come to beauty school because either their parents have said, well, you have to do something, and they choose beauty school because they think it's going to be easy, and then they get into beauty school and they realize it's hard, there's tests, it's a full-time schedule, like there's a million things that make it a challenge. We've all been through challenging things, and I think what we all know is going through those things, like, it does make you better. Going through something hard, like, does make you stronger on the other side. And so I know that a lot of the beauty school students that are posting these things might not even want to go into the career field. They might not even want to work in the industry. But I think that just going online and spewing hate is just not the right way to handle this. I was telling somebody the other day that there is so much negativity around the beauty industry, anyways. We have fought so hard to overcome objections from parents, providing extra opportunities to make sure that our students are so professional when they come out, to make sure that not only are their technical skills there, but they're given business classes and all of that stuff. And I'm not saying that every beauty school is like that. Again, I think that there is a ton of work that needs to be done of other beauty schools. I can only speak to our beauty school. And again, I think that we are in constant communication with salon owners and stuff to make sure that our students are the most prepared so that they're able to get placed. If you're not attending a school that's doing that, I understand how you could have a negative experience. So, obviously, this isn't just for everybody. I think that bringing attention to things that need to change is important. And so, sharing that stuff can bring positive change. I just think that there is like a way to do it that isn't discouraging people from coming into the beauty industry in general. I've heard so many students tell me that were in college, like they just went to college because their parents told them they had to go to college, and it was hard for them to say, hey, this isn't what I want to do. I'm not happy, because their parents wouldn't have supported them in going to beauty school. And I think we're coming out of that. That's the good in all of this, is I think that it's not as hard to convince parents anymore to choose a trade over traditional college, because I think parents are now starting to understand the benefits, and just the way the beauty industry has grown with more opportunities and with pay being so much higher. I think that that's not such a challenge, but I think that when parents see these posts, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, of course my daughter isn't going to go to beauty school, like look how terrible it is, or look how awful it is. Going back to making sure you're choosing the right school. And then when you get into that school, I've had a ton of conversations with students, because again, after doing this for as long as I have, I've seen students that have had the best experience in beauty school. They have made the best of it. They've made it fun. It's not like a terrible experience for them. And I was talking to one of our graduates, Piper, the other day, and just talking about how her and her best friend Opal like really did it right. Even in their graduation speeches, like that was the thing that I had said to them, was I was so proud of them for doing this in the best way possible, making the best of it. There's students that are miserable at whatever university, like make it fun. Like you're in an environment in beauty school where you're getting a bunch of clients. Hopefully, again, a positive about the school is that you're getting a bunch of students, or you're getting a bunch of clients to work on. There are some students in the school that hate that part of it, that are like, I don't want to take clients, or they'll leave if they just don't feel like doing an appointment that day. Well, you can't do that in the real world. Like that's not setting you up for success. So, from the school perspective, I can say we're trying to give you the most experience so that when you graduate, you are ready to go to work. It's not so scary to build your clientele. You're going to be ready. You're getting extra practice. But I know that there are students that don't feel like that is what they want. And just as a school, we obviously deal with so many different situations, and I think sometimes to the student, is there if there is an issue, it feels like the biggest thing in the world, because that's their issue at the moment, right? It's just their situation. But for us, we're taking care of 300 students and making sure that everyone is having a good experience in the best way possible. So, making sure that you understand that you have a part in this as well as a beauty school student, that you're committing to 1,500 hours, or however many hours the state requires where you're attending, but make the best of it. Have fun. We talk all the time about how, and I've seen this online, so this is positive as well, but I've seen about like videos and posts about the people that they met in beauty school. I cannot say enough about how you will meet like your best friends for life in beauty school, because there are people that are interested in being or interested in the same things as you are. You get to be around them all the time. You really get close. I think finding the right people is important. And I feel like even on this subject, that goes into the salon, making sure that you're in a salon where you fit with the people that you're with and that you're able to have fun and you are able to connect with them. The most successful salons that we see are the ones where, you'll see them going out and doing activities together all the time. They're all at each other's weddings. They're all like throwing baby showers for their stylists and the people that they work with. I think it's really important to find, where you fit. If you have decided to go to a school that you're not having that fun or you're not getting that experience, I think more than anything, you have to make sure that you're at a place where you're getting the experience of clients and learning what you need to learn, that you're being prepared for state board prep. We get calls from transfer students all the time that are like, hey, can I come in and do your state board prep class? And it is something that's just for our students. The school should be required to get you ready for your state board. So again, all of those technical skills, and hopefully you're getting that. I've seen salon owners post things too or I'll hear them say things like, just go to whatever beauty school, get your hours, and then you'll learn everything you need to learn after. And I hate that. And that is something that I think is a valid point of, again, you should be ready after you've spent that much time to successfully be able to do the technical skills that you need to do. Now, obviously, like you're going to learn, we always say that like when you go into the salon, you're going to learn tricks and how to do things faster and all of that, but you've got to build your basics, and you've got to learn how to do the basics really well before you can move on to your shortcuts and different techniques and all of that stuff. So there's definitely room for growth after students leave, but making sure that you're getting everything from the technical skills that you need while you're in beauty school is so important. So back to this idea of the online presence that we have. Again, I think that there is a negative view of the beauty industry anyways, and I think that the more that we as an industry are posting about it as well, as it's just, spreading hate from inside the house. Like we're kind of doing this to ourselves a little bit. And I think it's fine if you get into beauty school and you decide, hey, this isn't what I want to do. I think that at that point, if you know that you're not going to go work in the field, or, this isn't the career path for you, I think you kind of know pretty soon, pretty early on into it. And I think at that point, like, talk to the administration and figure out what you need to do to change your path. I think changing your path is fine. I think changing your path is okay. So many people drop out of college and don't finish, and then go on to something else. So I think that that's normal and that's okay. But I think staying in it just to be negative about it is what I, just don't agree with. So recently we had there was a student that posted something negative about the beauty school. And when I had talked to the student about it, the graduate about it, what was told to me was that it was not an attack on the school, that she appreciated the instructors and the school and all of those things, but it was just more about that time of life. That year was hard. And absolutely, we talk to our students all the time about how hard that year is. Like we have students that are working and going to school full time, that are moms, that have every other thing that is happening in life at the same time. So yes, this time of life is hard. I think just being in your 20s in general is really, really challenging. Some of our students maybe are outside of high school for the first time around a whole different group of people, and that can be challenging. Again, make the best of it. You might have somebody in your class that you don't agree with or gets on your nerves or whatever, and again, that's okay, but that's life also. I think sometimes you can go into a salon or you can have a client that maybe isn't your favorite, but as long as they're not being like super rude or hateful. I mean, you have to have boundaries for sure and just not like accept it, but I think that there are ways to turn things around into a positive. It's not always going to be happy 100% of the time. I think that it's making the best of the situation that you're in. I think when I, saw this post, I was like, okay, so this is like 4 views, obviously, because again, what's happening online is people are posting something negative and it gets a million views. The comments were crazy. There's no business in the world that is going to have 100% positive comments. As much as that's what we want and that's what we try to do, unfortunately, it's easier to just go online and just say something instead of talking to people directly. And so the comments are one thing. I mean, I think that we don't jump in, obviously. It's never gonna, you're never gonna win that battle by jumping into the comment section. I think the comment section is 100% the easy way out. And it's easy to say things online behind a keyboard, right? Like that's, we all know that. So without jumping in, I mean, just reading some of the things, I'm like, well, that didn't happen and that's not true and whatever, but that's okay. Like we can let that live online and it's whatever. But what really bothers me, I think more than anything is that we, again, just speaking for our school, and I know that there are other schools out there that want to be better, want to do better. Our class was packed just for beauty school owners that wanted to know how to make the student experience better. But what broke my heart about this is, yes, it stings a little when you get those bad reviews or you hear those negative comments, but when you know it's happening just for views, like that's really hard to take. But I immediately was like, I have this team of instructors that show up every day. And again, perfect 100% of the time? No, but I know that they love our students so much. I have seen our staff over the last 13 years go so far above and beyond what is required of them as instructors to help our students. And that can be from, when SNAP was taken away for a little bit, literally buying groceries for our students, making sure that our students are safe, that we stay with them, that we are there for them through the hard moments of life. I know hands down, our staff would do anything for our students. And so to know that they saw this post that was negative and to know that they were like, you know, again, that stings, that hurts. And I get protective of our team for sure, because I do think that we have the best group of instructors. And again, and that's not just because maybe they're the best teachers in the world, but because they show up for our students. That's number one priority. And so to know that they saw this, and obviously it being, centered at or directed towards our school, I was like, man. And so when they were sending it to me and like, did you see this? I mean, it hurts. Like it's hard not to take offense to that. And that was really hard to see. Just again, as a leader, I hated that part. And just knowing that people are saying things about them online, that's hard. I feel like it's easier for me to be like, whatever, let it roll off your back. But for them, it sucks. And I just think that before we jump into this, like doing this for views, and again, I know that beauty school students and graduates are young. So I guess that's really the point of the podcast today, or even talking about this, is giving you those tips for really understanding what happens long run for you, and knowing that at least in our area, if a salon owner, and actually I don't even need to say in our area, because I have salon owner friends in different parts of the country that we've talked about, this as well. And I know that they feel the same way, that that's going to be hard to get a job if your future employer sees that you're posting things like that, because they're going to say, well, what if something happens at our salon that isn't positive? Is this person just going to go do that? And, one of my arguments about the beauty industry that I feel like I've worked really, really hard to try to change is the professionalism in the industry. And showing up in a professional way just wasn't always the standard. And now I feel like we've created that standard, that there is a line of professionalism. And to all of our students, we do have those conversations about what you post online. It's there. If you say something online, it's out there. You can delete the post or you can whatever, but it lives. Somebody screenshots it and it's there. And that can come back to bite you. And like, to think that we're in 2025 and still having this conversation seems so crazy to me, because I feel like if you at 20 years old, again, any students that are posting these things, like, I know will have a different perspective when they own a salon and then somebody leaves a bad review about them or whatever. I know that the shift might happen later, and I hope that it does through growth and change. But I think understanding, like, to carry yourself professionally for your career, it does matter. I mean, there's so much conversation online about uniforms and what is required when you show up. Go to a salon where you fit. If you are like, I like to dress more casual, or that's my style, or whatever, like that's great. Find a place that doesn't have a uniform requirement, or is will allow you to do that. I think just finding your space instead of going to into a space and just bashing and hating like how a business operates. Like, no one's making you go to work there. Make sure that you choose a place where you know that you're going to fit, and if you don't fit there, make sure that you move, make sure that you leave the situation. I think that it really the one thing that I'm like, we all know that you can leave, you can switch. Like, if you're so miserable, I just have never really understood if you hate something so much, like why you would stay in it. And that can definitely just be me being like, well, I would just get out of that situation. That is how I operate. I think obviously, like, venting to your friends and making sure that you have somebody to talk you through the hard times, so important. Like, number one thing that I recommend is having somebody that has gone through this experience with you, which is why the people you're in beauty school with is so important. But even outside of that, having somebody that you can talk to that truly understands the experience. And then maybe instead of throwing up something negative on social media because you've had an awful day or something terrible has happened, like, go to your person. I think that you're going to get a better reaction anyways, but the dopamine hit of seeing all the likes and the comments and all of that, it just doesn't, it's not effective. Not only is it not effective, but Mark and I were just talking about how the likes and all of that does not equal dollars. It doesn't equal money. Like, even if you've had a few videos that get hundreds of thousands of views, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden brands are coming to you and want to work with you. And I think, quite opposite. I think that and this is just coming from brands that I know and that we work with, is they want to shy away from the negativity, obviously. Like, they don't want to be at the center of controversy. And I just think that making sure that we're lifting people up, if we could all have that mindset instead of just being as negative as possible, the world would be a better place, and we all would probably like existing here a lot more if that could be the idea instead of just as negative as possible. So I think that making sure that you are showing up in a professional way does matter. And what that professional looks like or is to you or means, like, that is all such a personal choice. Again, people choose salons or spas, um nail salons, like whatever, wherever you're going, wherever you're working. I think that people choose different places for different reasons, but making sure that you fit there so that you can be happy and have a successful career is important. There's a huge conversation online about suites versus commission and this versus that. We have to understand that we're in an evergreen career path, that things do change. There are trends. I can talk to somebody that works in a suite that's doing well in a suite, and a suite is a great situation for them, and be like, yeah, that's great for you. And it's so good. And we can support that. And I can be so happy for them and help them with hiring. And when they're bringing on assistants and we can help with all of that, like, I love that. Like, we want to support you grow. But, to think that you're just going to graduate beauty school and then you're going to go and go into commission salon and hate how things were run there, but then just bash every commission salon, doesn't really make sense in my brain. Like, I don't know if that is, if that's a normal way to think about things, but I think that you should 100% do what's best for you. So I think if we can all let each other just do what's best for us, instead of all trying to fit into these boxes, it will be better also. So, there's a lot of people also that are like, well, I was in a suite and now I'm going back to a commission salon. Great. That works for that person. I think we all just need to do a little bit better about allowing all of us to find our path, without tearing down everything else on the way, just for views and likes, because I don't think that that is good for any of us. And so, that is kind of what I wanted to say about that topic. I'm sure that there's more to come, and I think that starting this as a bigger conversation is important. I think that, again, making sure that you hear that I understand every beauty school is different. Every salon is different, every spa is different. And yes, I would love if every single place operated the way that they should and everybody treated each other the way that they should be treated. But because we live in a world that's obviously not the case, I think moving on without tearing everything down is the best way to go about it. I think about when I'm thinking about all of this stuff, I often think about other industries and how things happen in other industries. And I don't, and maybe it's because I'm not a car salesman or whatever, but I just don't see this negativity about being a car salesman. Are there negative parts of the job? For sure, but it just doesn't seem like people are going online to destroy it. And again, maybe it's just not on my For You page, but I think it's really, really important that when we already have so many things stacked against us, that we're supporting the dream of the beauty industry and encouraging people in every way possible to come into what we believe is the best industry in the world. I think there are so many positives about the beauty industry, and I would just like love to see more of that and encouraging people to do this, to follow their passion. When I see those posts, I always just think about the people that are like, oh, I finally had the courage to say that I was going to do this. I finally had the courage to do something. And they see a post like that, and it just gives them even more doubt and fear about coming into this industry. And it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Again, it's okay if you come into this and realize that it's not for you. That doesn't mean that you now have to be so terrible about what the industry is, and you don't have to share that negativity. It's hard for me to understand, but again, I think I use the internet in a different way, and it's never to push negativity. I really want to push positivity and love and light, and that's what we've been doing through the podcast. I mean, there are definitely people in the beauty industry that if they asked me to be on the show, I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know if that's somebody I want to interview." Like, you get those feelings from people. Again, that's okay, but I don't have to go online to destroy those people. Um People are doing their own thing, and everybody has their own experiences with people. But I think that as beauty school students and students that are going into salons, it's just not a good look. I also think that one thing that I was thinking when I was thinking about recording this was about how a lot of students, I was talking to some recent graduates just the other day, and they were saying you kind of have this feeling that beauty school is going to be the hard part, that the hard part is beauty school, but once you get through that, then it's easy. And it's like, no, like in no way does life just become easy once you graduate. Then you're going into a salon where you need to, or if you're going into suite, whatever situation you're going into, now you're going into a space where you have to provide income for yourself. So you're dealing now with clients and with all of these things that hopefully a school has built you up enough to be ready to handle. But it gets harder, and it gets more challenging in different ways. But my favorite thing is when you see, I go to the salons and I'll see students and they're assisting or they're working behind the chair, and I see that they're doing so well. They found their passion, they found their place. Like, nothing makes me happier than that. I know that they've found where they need to be and they're able to be successful. We also have conversations, with students that are like, oh, I did this, but now I need to switch. Again, great. Hopefully you have a circle and you have people. We are those people for so many people that have been through TSB. Will reach out years later about wanting to move locations or a new business idea, or how do I get connected here? That's what we do. We're always available for that. We always want to help and support people even after they have, left the school. So not every school does that, but I know at least like on our side we do. So I just think that, again, the idea of just being more positive, and really just uplifting the beauty industry is what I wanted to talk about today. We can share all of the things that are hard about the job, because I think that's really why I started the podcast, was sharing the good, bad, and ugly about the industry so that people could be more informed and be able to make a decision based on what they know is going to happen or could happen in their career. So it's okay to say, this could happen, or I had this client and here's how I dealt with it. I had this issue and here's how I left a salon, or here's how I did this. There are right ways to do everything, even from having conversations when you get into a salon, if you are reprimanded. How are you going to handle that? Are you going to go online and just destroy the salon, or are you going to have an adult conversation? I think those tools that I don't know how we learned all of that, or I don't even really know. I mean, obviously I haven't handled every situation perfectly in my life, and that's okay, but there are better ways. Let's say that there are better ways to handle situations. So, understanding that there's going to be rules where you go to work, just like there's rules in beauty school, and there's going to be, just like at any job, every single career path, every job, there's going to be some rule that you have to follow, and just making sure that you're aware of those before, and making sure that you can commit yourself to that. If you're like, you know what, I can't commit myself right now to being able to show up, on time every single day, or not calling, like, then you need to evaluate where you are and what you are actually able to do. Instead of adding something to your plate when your plate is full, make sure that you can fit it in. Make sure that you're able to really commit to wherever you go to work. And again, that's just in any industry, being able to take on the tasks that are going to be set in front of you so that you can be a good employee. And if you are being a good employee and you're still not being treated the way that you want to be, then just get out of that situation, as soon as you can, and find somewhere where it's going to be better for you. But I think going into something and not really knowing how to handle confrontation, or how do I handle if another stylist is being mean or is whatever. I mean, find people that can give you good advice about that. I'm sure ChatGPT now actually can do that for you. Now it's easier than ever because you can literally just type in chat that you have an issue with an employee and how are some ways that I can handle this. So it's not like you have to look far anymore for ways that you can come out of situations and then move on from them. But it's clear that there is something happening right now, and only because so many people have brought it to my attention. And when we're at school owner conferences, it is a big discussion about how it used to be, and it still is, regulations and hours and people wanting to cut it, and we think it should be this way and that way. That's all just part of life. Like, those are just healthy, normal conversations. But I think when it gets into, mean, negative, whatever, like, we just need to stop. And if you have been treated badly by whatever school or whatever business, like, move on from it. Like, you don't have to hold on to that for the rest of your life. And now this is the hill, you're going to die on. Just make sure you're letting go of those issues as well. I feel like the conflict resolution is very, very important right now. I think getting advice from somebody that you think handles situations well, like somebody that you can look up to, and somebody that you can say, hey, I really liked how you handled this situation when you didn't like somebody or whatever. Find those people, talk to them, ask them. Like, I think that this industry is so willing to help and encourage. Again, that's the in-person message, right? Like, if you took social media out of it, if you put your phone down and really just talk to people in the industry, we can vent and be negative about things, but then we move on from it. It doesn't have to be something that just we carry with us now, and something that sticks with us. So, I think the message is to be professional and to know that every single action has some sort of repercussion or reaction that is going to happen with that. If you're excellent and you're growing in the company, you're getting raises, you're moving up, you're getting more clients, you're getting all those things. Same with if you're going to be negative. There are repercussions for every single thing that you do. So, to the younger stylists, to beauty school students, I would just encourage you to be, find the light, find the thing that makes you happy, find the group of people at the school that does make you happy, that you can have fun with, that you can, on the days where you are like so tired that you worked, until midnight the night before, and then you showed up to school, or maybe your kids kept you up all night, but you still showed up, make the best of it. I used to tell students that for attendance, that give yourself a treat. If you show up, all 4 days or all 5 days, and this is for college, for work, whatever, like, say that on Friday you're going to go buy that coffee or you're going to go do whatever. Like set yourself up. I think take accountability on what you can do to make the situation better and do as much as you can to make the situation as good as it possibly can be. And, again, be honest as you're talking to people. It's okay to share that you had a negative experience with somebody without completely, just bashing somebody. I think there's just a really big difference between, hey, I'm venting, I'm upset about this, and now I'm going to go blast it everywhere so that everyone thinks that this is just like the worst place ever to be, or this is the worst career path. It might be the wrong career choice for somebody. And I don't think it's fair that somebody who maybe isn't even going to go into the industry or didn't really want to be there in the first place, that they get to be now the main representation for the industry and to speak on everything, when it's like, well, maybe that wasn't the path for you, and maybe you would have fit somebody somewhere else, or maybe you a different career path would have been better. I hope that all of these people find the career path that does make them happy. Or if you have to leave and move on, it's the same as like, I feel like the message online, it used to be like before social media was so huge that it would be like when a stylist left a salon, you would hear stories of the salon owner like threatening lawsuits, or like non-competes that you had to sign, and now those obviously went away. It was like it was a different world, but I feel like it was reversed, where some salon owners or some salons would try to bash the stylists, and now I feel like it's working in an opposite way. And I'm like, we don't have to do this at all. If somebody leaves the salon, treat them with the respect and wish them luck, and thankful for everything that you learned from the salon. I think that's a great way to leave. If you have to leave, is I'm thankful for what I learned here. I'm thankful for the education, the space to grow, but I'm going to go on and do my own thing, and hopefully the salon will match that energy and just be like, yeah, we wish you luck, we're happy for you, and wish the best, and everyone can just move on instead of holding these grudges or wishing ill on people. Like, that's not the vibe, that's not what we want to portray. So I don't know that any of this is going to make a difference. I think that there's probably salon owners listening that are super happy that we're talking about this, that would kind of back up what we're saying. And I think there's a lot of beauty school students and new stylists that feel the same way. They're like, I loved my journey. And as much as they're sharing that positive, the positive doesn't get the same number of views that the negative gets. Like, we know that. So just operating in that world, like, be a little bit more in the real world. Look around at the people that are successful and are willing to give extra opportunities instead of just focusing online. I know that when I'm looking something up now, I go to TikTok and I'm like, oh, I'm traveling to this place. Let me see, reviews about what this resort is like, or what this hotel is like, or just planning trips in general. I think making sure that you're still able to do those things, you're still able to research, but that there is some basis behind what is being said is really important. Nobody loves high school, but you're not like seeing all these negative reviews. It's just something that you have to get through. So make the best of it. That's my advice, is figure out a way to be happy and to still spread the light. And I think it will be better for everybody. Carrying the, negativity with you is not good for the person that's carrying that negativity. It's better to let go of it and to be in a more positive space. And I think deep down, that's what we all want, is we all want to be happy at our jobs. We all want to be happy wherever we're at in life. And I think it's really important to do that work that you need to do, to not hold on to the negativity and just like live in the real world a little bit, like touch grass, as they say. Like, it's really important to make sure that we understand the real world is what's happening around us, and it's not only what is on social media. But if you're going to post things, you do need to understand that there are negative things that can come from that, and making sure that you're aware of that things are screenshot, like all of those things. It's just really important to be positive and to be encouraging. And I think, again, we all will be better if we can lift each other up a little bit more. So that is my take on all of this. If you stayed through to this point, I'm interested to know what you think of the episode, and to think of, or what you think of the topic. Most of the people that I've talked to have kind of said the same thing, that it's like a hard space to be in, and it's hard to see all this negativity when they want to spread light. And let's start like liking all the videos that are positive and encouraging, instead of liking all the negative things. And maybe we can fix all of this. But I hope you love this episode. I did want to say one more thing. If you have any ideas for segments, we are wanting to add in some segments, and we have some ideas of segments that we want to do. If you have anything that you want to hear on the podcast, we do have a section on the website where you can write into me, and I'll answer questions through email. And then you can find it on our website at beautyschoolbobby.com. There's a section that says Ask Bobbi, and then I will read your question anonymously, and I'll read the question and give feedback about things. If there's something that you want me to talk about, or if there's something that you just kind of want to know more about, write in on the website. But if you have any fun ideas for segments, let me know, because we want to add in just some more consistent segments to what we're doing in this upcoming year. So thank you all so much. I hope that you can move on through your day with love and light and spread positivity, because that is what the world needs. And make sure that you rate, review, subscribe, do all the things. Follow me at Beauty School Bobbi, and follow us on Beauty and Style Network. Bye, guys.